turning down the Saudi League's insane $800 million offer to becoming a part owner of the global golf entity, here's why Tiger Woods needs the LIV Golf merger. Being the greatest golfer in the world doesn't come easy, because every time there's some controversy in the game, everybody rushes toward you for your opinion. But the thing with Tiger is, he's not just the greatest golfer, he's also a leader on the PGA Tour, meaning the things he says have an actual impact. And maybe that's why he's been so quiet about the whole merger situation, because he knows he's been critical of LIV Golf in the past, and he can't do that anymore. In fact, people think he regrets ever saying those things about the Saudi League. But even more importantly, he regrets turning down their $800 million offer. The league's going to become a part of the new golf entity right next to the PGA Tour. So, the players who turned LIV Golf's offers down and stayed loyal? Well, they're not getting anything, while LIV members like Phil Mickelson are going to walk right back into the tour with their bags full of cash. Seriously, the PGA Tour members are mad, and I'm sure Tiger feels the same way. He was one of the first players to be approached by the league. Yes, even before Lefty, and get this, Greg Norman wasn't even the CEO when this went down. So, Tiger really was a massive piece of the puzzle for them, which is why they offered that insane $800 million contract. But Woods owes his career to the tour, meaning even that amount wasn't enough to persuade him. Here's the thing though, hindsight is 20/20. And now that the two entities are merging together, Woods would take that money in a heartbeat. After all, even though he made himself look good for a couple of years after that rejection, it hasn't actually made any real difference for him. In fact, he's just $800 million poorer than he could have been. Besides, LIV Golf would have been the perfect match for him right from the get-go, and it was only his loyalty that kept him from making the move. But now that all that loyalty talk's out of the picture, with golfers hating Commissioner Jay Monahan for backstabbing them, Tiger should embrace the concept of LIV Golf. You see, he doesn't like the league for a couple of reasons. The first one's obviously the Saudi funding because of the country's human rights issues. But the thing is, the PGA Tour's also taking cash from the Saudi investment fund now, which means that there's basically no difference between them and LIV. So if Tiger's okay with competing on the tour, he should be fine with playing in the league too. But obviously, he has issues with the format as well, because he thinks that 3 rounds isn't enough for a golf tournament, and we need to have cuts to make things competitive. That's the thing though, none of these complaints are valid either, because the tour's doing similar stuff with its tournaments. And who knows, maybe the PIF's investment will change things even further. You know the biggest reason why Tiger's complaints don't work though, because he hasn't played more than 3 rounds since February 2023. Yep, the last time Woods finished a tournament was during the Genesis Invitational, and it's not like he was consistently competing before that. The truth is, Tiger isn't the force of nature he once was, and his injury issues have affected his career a lot. I mean, people don't even know if he's going to continue playing or retire from the sport entirely. He had to withdraw from the 2023 Masters because of his ankle injury, and things got so bad that he couldn't even walk properly. Tiger then had to get surgery, fusing some of the bones around his ankle joint together. And sure, it's going to limit movement massively, but that's the only way he could get rid of the pain. The situation is very complicated because Tiger's recovery time is long, and most people think he won't be back until the 2024 Masters. But even then, if he does come back, would he be able to ever compete in a 4-round tournament? Well, from what we've seen over the past few years, it doesn't seem very likely, so Tiger needs something that's less physically intensive, like LIV Golf. Besides, he can't say the league isn't competitive enough, because if there's anything we've learned during the major tournaments in 2023, it's that LIV players aren't washed up at all, and can actually compete against the best golfers on the tour. Besides, Tiger's probably the only player who will have the freedom to do what he wants under this new golf entity, and I'm sure he's going to use that freedom to full effect. After all, even though he hasn't played regularly on the tour for years, he's still one of the most respected figures among the leadership, and if he asked for something, they'd let him do it. So that's going to be the name of the game after this merger too. Except now, Tiger's going to have a lot more options to compete. First, there's obviously the Saudi League, which seems like the perfect spot for someone like Tiger. He'd get paid a lot, and he won't have to play as many rounds too. Besides, LIV's rules are also more relaxed, meaning there's a chance he'd be allowed to use a cart to drive around the course. And that, folks, could actually revitalize his career, because Tiger doesn't struggle with golf shots right now. The real issue is that he can't walk around the golf course. Besides, he's said in the past that he only wants to focus on the 4 major tournaments. So with the LIV Golf merger, he could fulfill that goal too. How? Well, you see, even though I'm sure he's going to try his best to compete at the majors after injury, there's a big difference between saying something and actually doing it. And we've seen in the past just how challenging it can be to arrive at a major in rusty condition. The thing with Tiger is, he doesn't want to play golf just for the sake of it. He wants to compete for wins, and he can't do that if he turns up to tournaments without practice. Plus, we've seen just how good LIV Golf's schedule is for golfers, because not only is it way less hectic than the tour, but it's also great fun for everyone involved. Also, if Tiger doesn't vibe with it, he always has the option to go back to a tour event. After all, he's the most important asset for the sport right now. And he's gonna enjoy some special privileges. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Tiger gets a leadership role on the new entity's board, alongside Monahan and the PIF's governor, Yasser Al-Rumayyan. And that could lead us into a new era of Tiger Woods. One where he's not only a great golfer, but also the guy who shapes the future of the sport. We all know he's capable of playing this role, because he's done similar stuff with the tour for years at this point. I mean, he even led the PGA during its biggest shakeup in years, bringing new elevated events into play, and increasing prize purses for top golfers. Plus, he's got a vision for where he wants to take golf next. He has his own indoor golf league with Rory McIlroy, and he's an expert golf course craftsman too. So, to see his talents go to waste would be unfortunate. Honestly, the new golf entity needs Tiger just as much as he needs them, which is why this merger is so perfect for everyone involved. Tiger gets to keep his legacy going, and the PIF gets to have a legend leading the way for the future. Besides, they've got the perfect way to convince him as well, by giving him an ownership stake in the new golf entity. Yep, there's a lot of uproar within the PGA Tour right now, and members are mad that they were betrayed after they stayed loyal. But apparently, the tour's already preparing a backup plan, which is to give them some equity shares in the for-profit entity that's gonna form after the merger. That's surely gonna make them happy, because now they won't have to worry about turning down those LIV Golf contracts anymore. And Tiger Woods is probably gonna get the biggest chunk of the pie. He's the most popular golfer, and turned down the biggest LIV Golf offer, so it only makes sense if they give him a significant share of this new company too. Plus, that part ownership would also give him some level of control within the sport, which would make this a promotion of sorts, at least from his current role on the PGA Tour anyway. What's more, he gets to do this while making a ton of cash, and deciding where to play and when to play, which is a dream scenario for any golfer in the world. So, there you have it. From becoming a part owner of the global golf entity to turning down the Saudi League's insane $800 million offer. That's why Tiger Woods needs the LIV Golf merger.